Hi everyone, I'm Katie Knight and welcome back to Can You Put Me on Guest List, the podcast in which I interview different people from the dance music industry to find out a little bit more about their career so far, how they got to where they are today, and stories they've made along the way. Before we jump into this week's chat, I would like to talk a little bit about Mixed Tank TV. For those of you that don't know Mixed Tank TV, it is a music production / educational platform that offers some incredibly interesting and insightful production courses hosted by some very talented producers such as Huxley, Shosh, Jackie, Joseph Edmund, Eddie Craig, and many more. So if you're a producer or wanting to get into production, then you should definitely go and check them out. On Mixed Tank TV, I also host a webinar series called Talk Tank, in which I chat with some really interesting guests in music. Our first webinar was with Eric Giusti, who works in music partnerships at Facebook. The next Talk Tank was with Ali Gilani from Bandcamp. And our third live webinar is coming up very soon with an amazing guest from, let's say, a huge company. So I'll let you know about that as soon as I can. All of these webinars are totally free. They are so interesting. I learned so much about the best ways and the tools to use at Bandcamp and Facebook for artists and for labels, and how the platforms can fit into a wider strategy. So to watch back or for more info, you can head over to mixtank.tv. And I hope you can join me for the next live webinars, which also include a live Q&A at the end for any questions that you may have. Also on Mixed Tank, you can also find the video versions of my podcast. So if you would like to watch any instead of listening, then you can just head on over. Again, that is mixtank.tv. This week on Can You Put Me on Guest List, I am joined by DJ and Radio 1 producer Jay Forster. I was so excited to talk to Jay because anything that is about radio just totally fascinates me. Jay produces Danny Howard's show, Radio 1's Dance Presents, The Wines Down Presents, and a lot more. And obviously he has just had so much experience and has so many great stories to tell. So it was really great to spend an hour chatting with him. We talk all about how he got to where he is today, some of his favourite shows he's produced, some of the shows that probably didn't go to plan, his own radio show, House Central, producing shows from home during lockdown, and much more. I loved recording this episode and I hope that you guys enjoy it too. This is Jay Forster on Can You Put Me on Guest List. Jay, hello, how are you?
I am good, thank you. Thanks very much for inviting me along. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's good to see you. The last time I saw you was when we did the Mixed Tank, what was it? The Mixed Tank event thing online, wasn't it?
Yes,
it wasn't
yeah.
Mixed Tank. It was
Tool Room's thing, wasn't it? The Academy they did, the online.
You've got great memories.
Hang on, virtual. It was a virtual something Academy.
Yeah.
Yes.
All about radio and podcasting. That's what it was.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good though. But it was almost a year ago, and yeah, this year seems like it's been about 5 years, doesn't it? So
it does. I know.
I think we can be forgiven for forgetting what it was.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. How's everything with you? How's the last few months been for you?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy sort of winter. I hate it when it's cold anyway. I'd rather be out where you are in Ibiza, where there's a bit of sun, a bit more daylight, if I'm perfectly honest.
There is no sun here at the moment. Literally for the last 2 weeks, it's been so grey.
Oh, well, that's making me feel a little bit better.
I know, I thought it would.
But yeah, no, it's been all good. Work's pretty flat out, and I feel kind of conscious of my audience here in the way that, dance music for so many people has been dry for, a year now, with so little going on and people fighting for their jobs. And I'm kind of here going, oh God, I've been so busy. And yeah, in many ways, I've been very lucky to sort of have a stable job at the BBC and be busy. So yeah, shouldn't complain really.
So I'd like to start off just by talking a little bit about how you got into the music industry. What were your first steps and how did you start out?
It's not a simple answer, that. I never really set out with any intentions to get into the music industry. And I guess kind of I fell into the radio industry first, which is obviously part of the music industry from there. But as a teenager, I'd sort of started getting into electronic music when I was probably about 14. And I guess kind of, it must have been 1998 as a 14-year-old getting dropped off on Southsea Common at the Radio 1 Roadshow by my mum. And I then kind of I stepped out the car and I had this vivid memory of kind of listening to the radio as we pulled up, and Stardust Music Sounds Better With You was playing at the time. And then opening the door and going, there's like a 7-second delay, and being fascinated by kind of how there was this kind of delay, and I don't know. And from there, that really started my sort of love of radio and broadcasting, and all sort of tied in with dance music as well. And from there, I started DJing. It was literally in my bedroom with, CDs and borrowed decks from a mate, and then through sort of sixth form parties got known as the DJ, and did stupid things on the last day of sixth form, setting up decks and the car park and playing to the to the playground, just mad stuff like that. Yeah, we were very lucky that we didn't get booted out of sixth form for that, to be fair. And from there, when I went to university, started getting involved with student radio and started presenting a weekly show there, playing just all sorts of dance music. And from there, went into community radio as well. And a long story short, luckily somehow managed to get a contact at Radio 1 and got a job off the back of it.
Wow, that was easy.
It did happen. Just in a there was a lot of luck. I think, shall I say, involved with it, and it all, the job at Radio 1. People are always sort of wanting to know how do you get into Radio 1 and how can you kind of get a job there. And I guess kind of at the time I was very lucky that I was in contact with somebody there. I'd helped them out when they'd done an outside broadcast in Portsmouth with Annie Nightingale back in 2006. So I'd helped them sort of show one of the producers around the city and sort of sorted out a few sort of interviews and stuff like that. And from there was able to keep in contact and get work experience off the back of that. Now, however, there is a far more robust system in place, so it's not just a who you know situation. So there's a lot more kind of work experience placements going in non-COVID times, of course.
I guess sometimes it's luck, but also you have to be really good at what you do. They're not just going to take anyone on. So you obviously must have been really good at what you were doing. And
I guess they could see the passion.
They must have seen the passion. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I read somewhere as well that you presented and produced the first international outside broadcast from Mambo to Express FM. How did that come about, and how did that go? Yeah,
so I think I had I was either in my last year of uni or I just finished uni, and I was doing this weekly show on Express FM, which was one of the first FM stations to have a community license when they came out in the early 2000s. And I'd always been a massive fan of listening to the Radio 1 weekend from Mambo, and started looking online, I wonder whether I can do the show from there. And I found sponsorship from Drift Bar, as it was in Southsea at the time, big up Drift Bar. And they sponsored the show for a couple of months, which put enough sort of capital into being able to rent the studio and get the lines. And we think it was the first ever international outside broadcast on a community license back to the UK.
Moment.
So it was
moment.
It was amazing, because that studio obviously has had so many legends in it, and for me, just out of uni, doing my own show and being able to actually just experience that, bring in guests as well. There were quite a lot of DJs from the Portsmouth area that were out on the island at the same time, so we were able to bring them into the studio. Big up Tom Brown, who kind of runs all of the BBC OBs, for kind of letting me use the studio, because it was incredible, that was. And then in a really strange quirk of fate, managed to interview Pete Tong. And then the following week, I then got a call to help out on Pete Tong's show at Radio 1, because I just started freelancing at that point there as well. And so there was this kind of like really kind of like weird moment in the studio at Radio 1 where like his producer was like, "Oh, Jay, this is Pete," and introduced me. And I was kind of like, "Oh, we met last week at Mambo, yeah."
Did he remember?
Yeah. We had an interview and stuff like that. So yeah, there was this sort of like awkward head nod kind of thing.
Pete. Pete Tong is one of those people I think I'd be really nervous about interviewing.
Yeah, I was so nervous the first time I interviewed Pete, but I think it's one of those things, you know. The thing that I always think whenever I kind of interview people, it's just another human being at the end of the day. Like there's, you know, yes, some amazingly talented people that you're going to kind of meet in your career that you're always going to look up to. But at the end of the day, if you can speak to them on the real as a one-to-one, then, absolutely. You know, it's all good, isn't it? And that's how you get the best out of people, isn't it?
I always think that, like, whenever I am a bit nervous, that's the exact thing that always goes through my head as well. Like, they're just a human person like you are. Like,
yeah.
they might even be nervous as well. Like, you're never going to know, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, for people that don't know, what does your job at Radio 1 consist of? Like, what's your day-to-day like?
Oh, man. As I was just saying before we started the interview, I'm spinning many plates at the moment. So at Radio 1, I'm a full-time producer and have been for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I look after Danny Howard's Friday night show. I look after the drum and bass show with René Levice. I also look after a show called Radio 1's Dance Presents, which is a brand partnership show that goes out after the Essential Mix. Another show called The Wind Down Presents, which is all about chill out music, which again is another brand partnership show with labels. And on top of that, we have kind of two other mix shows, which is Danny's Club Mix and the Drum and Bass Mix, which I look after. So effectively, although there's 4 main shows, it's 6 shows a week. And my job is it's like so multifaceted. It's like there is everything from like one-to-one talent management when I'm kind of like looking after Danny's show and the drum and bass show with René. There is kind of a huge amount of forward planning that goes into it. I mean, with all of those shows, I have 2 assistant producers that work alongside me. So I'm having to kind of manage their workload and kind of do a lot of planning at the moment, just sort of trying to navigate the hellhole that is Easter that's coming up, where, like, believe it or not, 2 bank holidays causes an absolute chaos in scheduling. Really? So there's a lot of that. There's the musical side, you know, making sure that, you know, our guest bookings are kind of on point, looking after all of those sort of stuff. And then with the brand partnership shows, it's speaking to those big labels, those brands, those events companies that we work with on all the different shows, and just bringing them on board to start with, and then also explaining the process of like what's expected and how we go about making a radio show. And with Radio 1 Dance Presents especially, we're dealing with a different brand every month there, and this year we've had DJ Mag, we've had Armada Music, we've got Junction 2 for March, and then we're going on to Hospital Records. So these are different brands with different specialities that sometimes need a little bit of hand holding, just to make sure that we can get everything out of them that we need to make a great show. So when people ask what does a producer do, it's a really difficult sort of thing to answer, because, you know, it's a lot more than just I do the editing and I kind of book the guests. It's a lot more. You're spinning many plates, as I say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy when you think about like how much work actually goes into a radio show behind it, like the hours and hours of work behind even if it's just a short show. There's so much to it, isn't there?
Even just programming the music, like that time you got to dedicate to, you know, going through the promos and doing the programming. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I think people underestimate it. And when they all of a sudden realise that, yeah, actually doing a weekly show is a lot, and when you're doing several, trying to look after several, it's a bit of a killer.
God, I know. Like, even with this podcast, I only do, obviously, I try and get it out once a week, but sometimes it's like every 2 weeks because it just takes me. I mean, obviously, I'm not a producer and I've had to learn how to like edit the podcast and everything, but just even like the research that goes into it and then the time listening back to it and then doing the artwork and all of this stuff for like a 45-minute or 60-minute show. There's just so much work that goes behind it.
It totally does. People shouldn't underestimate it because it's, the amount of people I've seen that kind of try and sort of take it on and go, it can't be that difficult. You just put a mix together every week. And I mean, you can, but if you want to do it well, then
absolutely.
The hours start building up. Yeah.
And then on top of that, you also have your own show, House Central.
Yeah, so House Central sort of originated from the show that I was doing on Express FM, the community station back in the day. I was doing that for, I can't remember how many years, a couple of years, 2 or 3 years maybe, and then started getting approached by a syndication company. They were really interested in taking it and putting it out on different stations. And so then it would have been about 10, 11 years ago that I was like, okay, I'm going to move away from just doing this one show a week on community radio and actually look down the syndication options. That syndication company then sort of folded, and I kind of started looking after the syndication with me and a mate of mine, and he puts his show out, Bass and Breaks, as well. So we kind of packaged the two shows together as 2 hours worth of kind of content. But yeah, that has been a weekly show. Last year, when things really started getting super busy at work last year, and it's when you're working with music all day, and especially I think with COVID where we're working at home at the moment, I go into the studios at Broadcasting House only once a week, so I'm in my studio here at home for 4 days a week. The energy that you then want to put into going, okay, I want to make my own show now and spend more hours in here. It sort of wanes a little bit. I've dropped that the House Central show down to twice a month now. So that's still kind of bubbling along in the background and goes out in some amazing places still, which is really great.
Where does it go out to?
It's the guys over in Ireland at RTE Pulse. They take the show, so it goes out nationally there. A whole host of stations, sort of from your kind of internet stations through to kind of local and regional stations around the world as well. I can't remember everywhere that it goes out, but it's quite a few. But yeah, it's really great that the show's sort of still bubbling along, and then it goes out as a podcast and on Mixcloud as well.
Am I right in saying that you've done like over 1,000 shows?
Right, now I posted only the other week, and I labelled the shows. The first year started with 0, then the second year started with 1. So we're now into the 11th year of doing the show. So episode 1001 isn't the 1001st show. It's
right. Okay.
It's the 11th year that I've been putting the show together.
That's still a really long time, though.
Yeah, it's been going a while.
Yeah. How do you think it's like changed since you started it?
I guess I've got a bit better at presenting. Back when I started it was, it was very formulaic. There was a lot of features in it, and now it's a lot more of a case of it being a mixed show. And instead of it being the music that I felt I should be playing, it's the music I want to play now. Yeah. So and I think, sorry, this is a massive clang of a name drop, but there was something that Scott Mills said in a kind of a session I went to probably 10 or 15 years ago when I was sort of starting off in radio, and he was talking about how he found himself as a presenter and how long it took for him to kind of really find himself as a presenter and know what kind of like he stood for. And I guess sort of like the more you present, the more you kind of find yourself, and you kind of go, actually, am I trying to fit into a mold here, or am I doing this really because I want to, and this is what I want to be doing? And I guess kind of like, yeah, that would probably be the main difference that House Central has seen over the kind of the last few years. It's just been me finding the music I like and kind of having that as an outlet for me to kind of represent that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'd love to meet Scott Mills. Is he a person?
You know what?
It's amazing to listen to.
Yeah, we're so blessed with like the presenters that we've got at Radio 1. There was, you know, an era, I guess, kind of like on the early years I was there in the sort of in the early 2000s, where there were quite a lot of big egos floating around the station still, and a lot of those have left now, and people are just genuine. You know, they know they're there for, you know, because they're, you know, at the top of their game, and although there is a level of, you know, everyone appreciates each other, like the egos have been massively reduced. And yeah, I mean, Scott's lovely. They're all lovely. I wouldn't have a bad word said against them all.
I can imagine. Yeah. Do you ever get starstruck by anybody that's come in?
Well, for me,
you're just used to it now.
For me, Pete Tong was always the person I looked up to. And I think that interview from 2007, it would have been at Mambo, that I did with Pete, that really was the kind of like, that cracked that nut of like massively starstruck, but then managed to speak to him, managed to have a really good interview. And it's not so often I get kind of starstruck now. I think the last time I got starstruck was sitting in a car park backstage at Glastonbury about 6 years ago, seeing Andy Cato go, "Oh my God, it's Andy Cato! Oh my God!" Just had a complete wobble. Like, it was completely unnecessary as well. And he must be like, "What the fuck's this guy doing?" Like,
and he heard you.
Yeah. I spoke to him. I was like, "Oh my God, Andy, I can't believe it's you." Like, he's like, I don't usually get starstruck, but I'm just having a complete meltdown now.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. You said before that you're at home producing Radio 1 shows throughout the week. So how has that been? Had you produced shows remotely before COVID hit, or had you always just gone into the studio?
Well, we always produced shows from the studio or on the systems at work. So yeah, when we did a trial day of working from home when we realised that how serious COVID was going to be, and that trial day ended up being the start of our working from home. We never returned. So yeah, I mean, it's been about a year now, hasn't it, that we've been working from home, and literally. It's what a year. We're to start with, I mean, my boss will, you know, she always says, you know, those first few weeks, she genuinely doesn't know how we stayed on air. We were, I mean, I'm lucky that I've got a studio here at home, so I've had Ableton on computers already installed and stuff like that, and quite a few of the other specialist producers are the same. So there was it was almost sort of beg, borrow and steal to try and make sure that we could just pull together the shows. And we're also lucky that, you know, the presenters that I work with, you know, both Danny and Renee, they've got microphones at home, so they were able to record links and, you know, pull shows together that way. So yeah, we were lucky that we were able to make it happen. But equally, you still can't underestimate the power of an iPhone and just being able to record voice notes into it, send it, and then stick a bit of processing on, and you'd be surprised how good you can make that sound. So yeah, when we started off, it was a little bit by the wire, but we've been running Danny's Friday night show live all the way through COVID.
From the studio?
From the studios at New Broadcasting House, and they have a very tight COVID measures in place there, making sure that, you know, one-way systems, and like there's regular testing, there are temperature checks on the way in and stuff like that. So yeah, they're very sort of COVID secure there, and making sure that only the essential broadcast teams are in. So it's been a bit weird. I mean, especially when we those early days of COVID when, 11 o'clock on a Friday night when the show was back then, it was literally only me and Danny in the whole of the 8th floor, kind of looking around going, this is a bit weird, isn't it?
I was going to say, that was so weird.
Just trying to keep the nation sane. But yeah, it's now we've kind of been able to increase sort of the numbers on the 8th floor a little bit while still keeping nice and COVID safe. So
that's amazing.
But they've done an amazing job, all of the bosses there and the operations team.
Do you think after COVID you will carry on working from home a lot, or do you reckon you'll just go back straight into the studio again?
Well, I think everybody does miss the social side of it, and it could at times be a little bit like a sixth form common room, the office at Radio 1. But I think that there will be definitely a legacy of working from home. I mean, for me, I'd love to be able to do it at least twice a week, 2 days a week at home and then 3 days in the office. That would be the ideal.
It's weird. Disco, sorry. Come here. He's been chewing my hand the whole time while we've been talking.
Oh,
literally the whole time. It's weird. Like, I reckon before COVID, we would never have thought that, we could all do what we I mean, obviously that a lot of things have had to change, but how we have all adapted to working from home and even working with other people. I would never have thought a year ago that I would have been able to do the things that I've done this year work-wise from home, So, I mean, it's obviously, as you said, I think the downside of it is definitely the social part and not being able to see people and that. But then it also does go to show that we, if we put our minds to it, then we can, and we've got the knowledge and technology. I
think we're very lucky that we've technology is where it is at the moment. I think if this pandemic had hit maybe 15 years ago, then I think it would have been very, very different.
It would have been so different.
Yeah, the connection would have, people really would have been kind of resorting to having to a voice phone call only, and at least we can kind of see each other on on Zoom.
We've been playing
stuff like
Snake all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, during lockdown, I feel like you've been pretty busy during lockdown. You have been doing a lot of live streams as well. You've built a couple of bars on your balcony, which is actually a genius idea. What a great idea.
Yeah.
You did your vinyl challenge. I feel like you've done a lot.
Well, I've been trying to keep busy. Yeah. I mean, for me, as I've hinted to, DJing and, doing my own radio show is kind of a bit like, I guess it's weird to say, is more like the hobby side of my life, and being able, and that's kind of like my kind of release, as it were, to be able to go and actually do stuff that I enjoy. All of what I do with work, but being able to go, well, that's work at the BBC, that's put to bed, I can now go off and do my own thing. And like any DJ will tell you, DJing in front of a crowd, there is nothing like it, and once you've got that bug, it's very difficult to let go. So yeah, for me, just doing the live streams has been good fun. I think it's been challenging. I think the way that Facebook have changed their algorithms in the last year has absolutely slammed a lot of people.
Absolutely.
The amount of people that you would organically pick up if you started doing a live stream on Facebook in kind of February 2020 in comparison to February 2021 is reduced by about I don't know, about 90%. It's ridiculous. I've really struggled with how that's gone, and so I've started looking at different platforms and trying to build a little Twitch channel, which has been interesting.
Just about to ask you, how have you been finding Twitch? Because I saw that you've been streaming over there. How has it been?
It's I guess it's reminded me, if anything, how difficult it is to build a following on a platform that you don't have followers on. It's really challenging, and it's almost, if I'm honest, to the point of I'm wondering if it's worthwhile continuing. I'm going to kind of stick at it for another month, I think, because I think kind of Twitch is a really stable platform, and the chat features on it and stuff are good. But it is a platform that's primarily designed for gamers, and the fact that we can get away with streaming music on it at the moment is probably a bit of a hack, to be fair. What would be nice if this Facebook could just sort of pay the royalties properly and we could do it back on there, because that was nice. But Twitch has been going. I've been trying to do a little bit of stuff on YouTube as well, but it's a bit low key at the moment, and just making the most of it, really. The vinyl sessions that we've been doing have been a lot of fun. So every Sunday at 6 I do a vinyl stream, and that again has been one of those weird little lockdown hobbies where I've always had a vinyl collection, but it has grown a lot over the last 12 months. I keep Discogs has been hammered, and like a lot of people who've kind of had full-time jobs during sort of lockdown have been kind of going, oh well, yeah, I've been able to save loads of money, and I'm just going, it's all gone on vinyl. It's all gone. Like, it's just kind of going, oh yeah, that's an exclusive one, we'll have that. So that's been good fun. And then the vinyl challenge that you mentioned, me and my mate Mike, we when we're not locked down, when we can actually get out to the shops, we've done a few of those, and it's good fun. We take 50 quid and we go and sort of spend a day rummaging around basements of kind of vinyl shops and see what we can find, and then put a stream together in the evening of all the tracks that we've found.
It's such a good idea. I loved that idea. I thought it was really cool.
Oh,
really
thanks.
Cool.
Yeah, it's one of those ideas that I think could probably work better if we got someone with a few more followers on. But
I bet you found some good gems.
Yeah, good. Found some really good ones. I think like the plan is once we get out of this current lockdown, we'll do that again, but we're going to add a little bit of a charity side to it. So we'll auction all of the tracks off afterwards or something like that. So,
but you know what? Every time I see like a picture or a live stream that you're doing on a Sunday, I always think like there's such a great vibe at your house right now. Like I just want to be there. Have the drinks out, like where you're all set up looks wicked.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got to shout out Claire, my girlfriend. She's always up for like having a few drinks on a Sunday and having a bit of a party as well.
I know, I don't even know Claire, but I always think, I really want to meet Claire. So nice.
She's very, very, very tolerant of me playing music, so yeah.
Is there anything else that you're really looking forward to in 2021, apart from like the obvious that...
Oh, yeah, I mean, just getting out of the country, getting back to Ibiza. I mean, I've been going to Ibiza at least once a year since I was 18. So that is about 18 years. And like, it's been weird for me not to go to Ibiza for a year. Like, I feel like that was just my keyboard collapsing. Yeah, it's been weird for me not to go to Ibiza for a year, and I feel like it's a second home for me. Being able to get out there, see all my mates, bumble around the West End, or go to clubs and stuff like that. I mean, when I was 18, like that, Ibiza for me was, a very much a typical kind of lads' holiday, with the added bonus that we knew the music would be good. And it's obviously it's progressed so much further than that for me now, and with friends all across the island. So that's really the thing that I'm kind of like yearning for this year, really, just sort of being able to get out of the UK, get to Ibiza, see people that I haven't seen for like 2 years, as it will be.
That's crazy.
And if I can, play some music in the sun.
Yeah, because you played at Mamba as well a couple of years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, luckily managed to get a gig there back in, it would have been 2019. Yeah, so that was great. Yeah, big up Elodie. And
she's so sweet.
Yeah, just sort of, it's always great just trying to cram in as many gigs as possible out there, and it's there's such a mixture of like formal arrangements to sort of more casual arrangements where you can just jump on at different places. So yeah, it's always fun sort of getting out and playing all of these different sort of bars and clubs all over the island. So yeah. When
was your first time in Ibiza? What year did you come here for the first time?
2003 it would have been. So yeah,
Holiday?
Back in the, so that would have been the lads' holiday in 2003. Yeah. Which was a very West End focused holiday, as you can probably imagine. But yeah, I mean, just like being out there and, visiting Mambo and Cafe Del Mar then, and before all of the pathway had been built along the front. Yeah, like really, really great memories of kind of, just experiencing things that I'd never been to a club like Privilege, for example, then. And my first memory of walking into Privilege in 2003 was it was for manumission, and we'd been told by our holiday rep that it was an amazing night and we had to go, and we're like, okay, had like no idea, just like, yeah, we'll go for it, and walked in onto that top terrace, and David Guetta was playing. He was in the DJ booth over the middle of the swimming pool, and he was literally playing A Little More Love, which was the track of the season as we walked in. And I was like, this is a memory. And yeah, like from there, just like, I mean, yeah, what an island.
I know. After that, there's no memories.
Yeah, all goes hazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I actually can't even remember my first time coming. I can't even remember what year it was. I can't remember what I did, anything. I'm just going to go with I had a really good time, and that's it.
You live there now, though, so it's fine. You just the island's taken you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally true. So I wanted to know what have been your favourite ever or most memorable radio shows that you've ever produced?
Right. So I was having a little think about this, like you might be asking me. Yeah, I think when we look back, I mean, I've been at Radio 1 now for Radio 1 and 1 Extra, to be fair, because I've spent sort of time working across both stations. But since, more or less full time since 2008. So I've been lucky to sort of work on like a massive array of output, be it kind of daytime stuff at Radio 1 through to most of the nighttime shows, and like on both Radio 1 and 1 Extra actually. So like there's been a few bucket list ones for me, which was producing the Christmas chart, the Christmas Top 40 with Greg James a couple of years ago. That was one of those ones that you just come out and go, good, yeah, got that one done. Amazing. Yeah. And then also, doing things like Ibiza, being lucky enough to produce shows, producing some of Danny's shows at Mambo. The first year we did Danny's show at Mambo, I don't know why Radio 1 keep doing this, but we keep going on the hottest week of the year. And Danny and I had like Danny's show, especially when it was at the 11 o'clock time, when we'd first launched it, we were like, let's make this show all about clubbing, representing clubbing, and very much with a UK focus then. But when we did the show in Ibiza, we were like, right, the stage show is finished because we're on air at 11 o'clock UK time. We got it all set up, and the studio was like hot, even with the aircon going full blast in there. It was very warm in there. And like Danny literally got to, like, he was doing his last link, and then all of a sudden the broadcast desk just tripped out because of the heat, and we were just like, oh my god. After the chaos of kind of like a show like that, where we had like loads of DJs jumping on and off the decks, and yeah, for it to finish like that, like at the time it was like no, but like in hindsight it was hilarious because it just summed up the show brilliantly. It was just like, mid-sentence, like Danny cut out, and it was like,
oh my god, I bet you were like sweating already. You're like, oh my god, somebody open the window.
Yeah, it was a lot. That it was a lot of fun, that, and definitely one for the bucket list, I think, that. But I guess also sort of thinking about the other kind of best shows, like I sort of started something with when I launched Danny's show back in 2017, we really wanted to do something with the live lounge that we have at Broadcasting House. It sort of sits conveniently between two of the big studios, and a lot of the bands come along and play there and do acoustic sets there. And I really wanted to have a party there, so I guess kind of like one of the sort of things that I'm sort of like most proud about is launching the Rave Lounge, and that was like so much fun to do. And we kind of brought in like Annie and Danny to co-host the whole night, and we brought an audience in and basically had a rave up at work and put it on the radio. and the idea took off. The bosses really liked it. It was really successful, and
wow.
And off the back of that, we ended up doing a student tour with 1 year with Radio 1, and we did a series of rave lounges on that. And one of the ones I was producing there was in Brighton, and because it was linked with universities, the only venue we could get was the Walkabout, which is a chain of Australian bars, for those that don't know, very student-y. So we could put this event on in the Walkabout in Brighton, and I was like, I really want to get Fatboy Slim to play there. and I don't know how we managed to do it, but we pulled it off, and we got Fatboy Slim to play the Walkabout in Brighton. And I literally think it's because it was such a mental venue that he was like, yeah, why not? That sounds fun. Yeah. And we were broadcasting. We had like the main sort of studio the engineers had set up. There wasn't a room for us upstairs, so they'd set up and next door to the Walkabout is a youth hostel. So we had a room in the youth hostel which they'd taken the beds out of, and the BBC engineers had just insanely talented at just being able to go, oh yeah, we'll work with that, yeah, cool. And they built a studio into this.
No way.
Ran all of these cables out the window, down the fire escape, and into the Walkabout. So we were able to broadcast there.
That's insane.
Yeah, so, and being able to pull that off and just kind of see an idea kind of like develop from like, okay, I've got an idea, what are we going to do here? And then that kind of like develop on is like one of the most sort of exciting things I think about my job. And when we went into lockdown, we had like Danny's show was moving to an earlier time, so we kind of wanted to give it switch up some of the features and look at what we could do. And then literally, lockdown happened, and then we had to tear up all the ideas because we couldn't have live guests, and it was we were literally had one person in to produce the show. And I was really buzzing to be able to kind of bring an idea called Lockdown Link Up in that we got to air, and it's taken off quite well. So yeah, with that that was all about kind of getting producers to remote collaborations, and again just sort of like one of those spitball ideas of going, like I literally had a Zoom meeting with Danny and Ollie, my assistant producer. I was like, right, how about, how like people say, like producers are always like going, do you want to collab, bro? And I was like, can we do something on there? And just sort of spitballing that, and it turned into this, and like we're now into our third series of doing it, and like getting like MK and Kolsch to do a collaboration together, and like
wow, like
Dennis Ferrer and Disciples, and seeing that get released on Defected, and like it's just been awesome, sort of like seeing like all of these producers that are like a big mixture as well, like sort of rising stars through to like big names, like just sort of bringing them together. And because we're kind of twisting their arm going, go on, give us an exclusive for Radio 1, like they're going, yeah, okay, yeah. So we're into series 3 now of that, and that's just been awesome to sort of see the success of that and how
what
well
a
that's
fun idea.
Yeah, it's worked out well.
You've got some good ideas, you, Jay, haven't you?
There's one or two, yeah.
Oh, they're brilliant stories. I love that, just from you wanted to have a party and then all of a sudden turn into like a whole tour. Absolutely brilliant. I would love to know any shows that like didn't go as they were planned.
The thing is, it's like, a lot of the things I sort of mentioned are a little bit showbiz and kind of like, somewhat glamorous. I'm very lucky to be able to be flown out to Ibiza to be able to run a show, for example. And there's also kind of like the day-to-day stuff, and like there's a huge amount of planning with my job. And like we started running co-hosts on Danny's show, and there was one, I think it was the tail end of 2019. Yeah. And I'd been trying to get a Defected co-host for ages, and it was probably almost 2 years in the making of kind of conversations, trying to work out the best dates. We needed to make sure it was the right year to coincide with Defected's 20-year anniversary. And then, coordinating like Simon Dunmore's diary and Sam Devine's diary so that everyone could be in the same place at the same time. And we finally had this great show lined up, and we were about to go on air, and then there was a technical problem and we couldn't get the bloody show on air. And so as this is a thing, like, you have these amazing moments with kind of being a producer, but then you also have these absolutely heart-crushing moments where you're kind of like running around like an absolute nutcase, panicking, going, I can't get the fucking studio on air. Like, and you've got kind of like big people who you really look up to, like Simon and Sam and like Danny sort of stay there going, what's going on? And we had about 15 people from Defected out in the live lounge all watching as well, while I was just pulling my hair out trying to get the show on air. So it doesn't always go to plan. Yeah.
Did it work out in the end?
Yeah, we got on air in the end, but it was awful for like those moments, like in broadcasting when you fall off air. Like, I mean, I think the example at Mambo, we had like about 30 seconds of the show left, and if anything, it was just comical. But yeah, when you're at the start of the show and you can't get the show on air because there's a technical problem, something's gone wrong in the system, it's just gut wrenching. It really is. Yeah. That was probably one of my worst.
Oh God, I bet you couldn't wait to get home and have a drink that night.
Yeah. Sometimes you just, like, when everything finishes, you just like have to go and have a little cry and go, oh God, it'll be fine tomorrow. Yeah.
Technology, eh?
Yeah. It's great when it works.
Exactly. And it doesn't. Even a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a podcast with someone, and luckily it was someone who I knew quite well, but literally halfway through, my computer just shut down, and then I managed to come back again, and then 10 minutes back in, then it happened again, and I was
it's just so annoying, isn't it?
It's so annoying. And now every time I start, it makes me get really nervous, thinking like, please, like, nothing happened. Just making sure that everything's fine, everything's updated, I've got enough storage on my computer.
Yeah. Back up everything. It's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So will you be up to a real quick round of fire questions?
Yes, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. What was the last thing that you drank and the last thing that you ate?
A cheese straw and this flat Coca-Cola out the fridge because I needed some sugar before coming and doing this podcast.
The funniest DJ you've ever had on a radio show that you've produced?
Oh, without a doubt, Fisher.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I know. We all know how bonkers he is. But when we did a co-host with him, and we were allowed, the bosses let us put out a little bit of swearing in there, which was nice of them. So yeah, we put some fruity language out late night on Radio 1 with Fisher just like being his obnoxious self. And he went and he named a track after Danny's man boobs, which poor Danny then, like, which was really funny at the time, and like Danny found funny, but I think it then kind of started like getting to him, and Danny then really hit the gym really hard afterwards.
That's too funny. Something that you have too many of?
Records.
Oh, you'd say that as well.
Yeah.
Proudest moment in your career?
Ooh. I think probably something to do with, I guess kind of like launching the shows that I'm on at the moment, being able to kind of like, win the commissions and launch the shows that I'm working on at the moment. Yeah.
Favorite day of the week and why?
Saturday. Because I can have a drink. That's a really lame answer, sorry.
No, that's probably would be my answer as well. So
it's party day, Saturday, yeah.
Party day.
Yeah.
What was your favourite thing to watch as a kid and still love now, if there is one?
Oh, I can't remember that far back. What was my favourite thing to watch as a kid?
Doesn't even have to be a series, like a film, cartoon.
I'm going to go for something really weird. Really used to love Time Team back in the day, the archaeology programme. Massive curveball. Tony Robinson running around digging stuff up. I used to love that as a kid because I am a massive loser.
If you weren't in music, what would you be doing?
IT. So my degree was in internet technology, which I didn't particularly enjoy, but I needed something that was going to have a stable income at the end of it. Luckily, I found a job in radio.
Your favourite takeaway?
It's got to be Rooster's Peri Peri Chicken from down on Streatham High Road. Yeah.
All right. You can invite 3 people over for dinner, dead or alive. Who would they be? I don't know. I need to give that a bit of thought. Just some mates, really. That'd be fine. Yeah, be happy with that. And what would you cook? What would you cook for him?
I probably wouldn't do much of a good job that. I'd probably get a takeaway.
Curry chicken.
Unless Claire's helping me, in which case she's an amazing cook. So she's literally keeping me alive at the moment.
Oh, bless her. And finally, because this podcast is called Can You Put Me on a Guest List, do you have a guest list rule? Obviously not now, but when things are open.
Do I have a guest list rule? Yeah. If they're polite and they're nice, then it's all good. Yeah, no dickheads. There you go.
There you go. That's my rule. No dickheads. Oh, yeah. Jay, this has been so much fun. I've really, really enjoyed chatting with you. So thank you so much for taking the time to record this with me. So I know you've got a lot on as well. And yeah, I'm a massive fan of all your work, and it's been really great to listen to some of your stories and how your journey began and how you got to where you are now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, no, thank you very much for the invite. It's really appreciated. It's nice having a little chat, isn't it?
It is nice. Nice to chat about, random things and favourite takeaways and all that,
It's made me sort of really had to kind of think about all of the stuff I've done over my career at Radio 1. It's which has been it sort of all of a sudden sort of catches up with you and you go, Christ, it's been how many years, is it? But
it'd be nice to look back a little bit and go back to
it's been good. I'm looking forward to being able to go out raving and stuff and seeing you at another Detlef gig, no doubt, with a bottle of tequila.
Absolutely. Oh, that was fun. That was a nice surprise as well.
It was, yeah. No, that was great.
Lovely surprise. All right, well, I'll let you carry on with your evening. Thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you soon.
Thanks, Katie. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.